In the cold, grey halls of Gateshead Hall, a little orphan girl named Jane Eyre grows up unloved and unwanted. Her cruel aunt, Mrs. Reed, treats her like a burden. Jane is often punished for things she never did. But even as a child, her spirit is strong. She refuses to accept injustice, even when she stands alone. One day, after a harsh punishment, Jane is sent away to Lowood School, a strict boarding school for orphan girls. Life there is hard, food is scarce, winters are freezing, and the teachers are cruel. Yet Jane finds one true friend, Helen Burns, a gentle, kind girl who teaches her patience and faith. When Helen dies of illness, Jane's heart breaks, but she promises herself to live with strength and purpose. Years pass. Jane grows into a quiet, intelligent young woman. She becomes a teacher at Lowood, but her soul yearns for freedom and experience. She wants to see the world beyond those stone walls. So, she posts an advertisement to become a governess, a teacher in a private home. Soon, she receives a reply from Thornfield Hall, a large, mysterious mansion owned by Mr. Edward Rochester. Jane travels there and begins teaching a little French girl, Adele, Rochester's ward. Thornfield is beautiful, but strange things happen there. At night, Jane hears eerie laughter echoing through the halls. Once, she finds Rochester's room on fire, and saves his life just in time. Rochester thanks her deeply, but gives no clear explanation. There's a dark secret hidden in Thornfield, something locked away in the attic. As days pass, Jane and Rochester grow close. He is proud, moody, and mysterious, yet he admires Jane's honesty and strength. Despite being plain and poor, she speaks to him as an equal. Their conversations are intense and full of unspoken feeling. One evening, under the moonlight, Rochester confesses his love for her. "My equal, my likeness," he calls her. Jane's heart, long starved of affection, finally blooms. They plan to marry. But on the day of their wedding, as the priest begins the ceremony, a shocking truth is revealed. A man interrupts the vows and declares that Mr. Rochester is already married. Jane is frozen in disbelief. Rochester admits it. Years ago, he was forced to marry a woman named Bertha Mason, a woman who later lost her sanity. She is the one locked in the attic, the one whose laughter haunts the halls of Thornfield. Though Rochester loves Jane truly, he is still bound by that terrible marriage. Heartbroken but proud, Jane refuses to stay. She cannot be his mistress. She leaves Thornfield in the middle of the night, with no money and no home. Days of hunger and wandering follow. Finally, she collapses at the doorstep of a kind man named St. John Rivers and his two sisters. They take her in, care for her, and soon she learns they are actually her cousins. Jane inherits money from an uncle she never knew, and for the first time, she is free and independent. St. John asks her to marry him and go to India as a missionary's wife. But Jane cannot. She respects him, but her heart belongs to Rochester. One night, she hears Rochester's voice calling her name, faint, distant, almost like a spirit. Jane returns to Thornfield Hall, but finds it in ruins. The mansion has burned down. Bertha, the mad wife, set the house on fire and died in the flames. Rochester lost his sight and one hand while trying to save her. Jane finds him living in a small cottage nearby, blind, broken, but alive. When she calls his name, he recognizes her voice instantly. Their reunion is full of emotion, forgiveness, and true love. This time, there are no secrets, no barriers. Jane marries Rochester, and together they live in peace and devotion. Slowly, he begins to regain his sight, enough to see the face of the woman who never stopped loving him. Jane Eyre is not just a love story. It is a story of a woman's courage to stand alone, to love with dignity, and to follow her heart without losing her soul. It is about equality, independence, and the power of moral strength, wrapped in one of the most beautiful romances ever written.